Hey guys, we're back for some more Saints Row the Third, and this is Convoy Decoy.
There's
Um,
stag in town. We need to be careful, Pierce.
Huh? Oh yeah, I totally agree.
Our place might be compromised.
Uh-huh, whatever you say.
And we should get some horses and mount a charge on stag.
All right, I'll get on that.
Damn it, Pierce. I'll be over in a bit.
Sure. See you soon.
we're moving along through the story here. I think this is probably like the halfway point, but a couple things I kind of want to discuss. And I know sometimes like discussing what's going on at the moment dates these videos a little bit, but it is what it is. Um, New game releases. Well, let's do this cutscene first, and then I'll flap my jaw.
Pack it up. We gotta move.
I got 20K on this game. Damn!
Now it's a draw.
This isn't over. So,
It's not safe here. You guys clear this place out. I'll buy you some time.
There was some
Pierce is loading the
things
trucks.
going on
I will
yesterday
create
with
the distraction at the
the
bunk.
Destiny
That
launch,
sounds good.
something about
I'll follow the
DLC
stack
not
bases and
working
draw
or
away.
something like that. And it led into a larger discussion on Twitter amongst some people about broken games and games being buggy at launch. And I'm not saying Destiny was buggy at launch. This is just a generalized observation
How's all that
statement.
packing up going, Pierce?
And
Slow. We got a lot
it's
of
sad
Only
that
take what's important.
in this day and
The
age
chessboard
with
doesn't
gaming,
count.
that one of the things that seems to be accepted, because I saw this comment a lot. People were like, oh, well, it's launched, there's going to be
Best
bugs.
thing these guys
And
have.
that should not be acceptable. People should not be okay with paying $60 for a game, or more if they buy a collector's edition, and things not working. With the amount of money that's pumped into game development nowadays, and marketing, and the amount of time that's generally given to develop the game, I mean, outside of a Call of Duty title, there's no reason why a game should be broken at launch or major hiccups. Now, minor bugs will slip through quality control, I understand that.
Might have pissed him off. He probably did some
But this whole mentality that, well, it's launched, it's okay, that just needs to go. You're letting the developers take advantage of you to an extent, and it leads to dangerous precedents like what happened with the Batman Arkham Origins thing. It was very broken at launch for at least the PC release, and there were some bugs and some issues with the console versions as far as I know too, but what eventually happened was they started working on DLC once they sold enough, and I'm sure they sold a decent amount of season passes, but they started working on the Heart of Ice, I think it was called, whatever the Mr. Freeze DLC was. And basically it boiled down to Warner Brothers releasing a statement, we're going to concentrate on moving forward and supporting the game through DLC, and there will be no more patches. What it might as well have said is, well, we know there's still aspects of the game that are broke and unplayable, but fuck you, we already got your money.
behind on my killing.
Because that's essentially what they did. And like I said, things like this, being okay with a game being broke at launch or broke in general, just leads to these big it's just not, the only people getting hurt in this is us. Developers make their money, they already sold the product to you, and just being like, oh well, what are you gonna do? And then you get some of these slimier companies like that put out yearly iterations of a franchise, and it's only a matter of time before more and more games will eventually, they'll just be like, we're not patching it. And I don't know, I don't want to bring up like, oh well, back in my day when I was a kid and I played Nintendo games, they were never broken at launch because you couldn't patch them. And that's true, but let's be honest, there was games on the NES that could be exploited and were broken and things of that nature, but and I understand nowadays computer or video games are far more complex than what they were back then, but I don't know. I still think that with the amount of money invested into the product, that some of these products that are released should not be released in the state that they are in. You end up with situations like the Aliens Colonial Marines debacle, this, like I mentioned, the Batman Arkham Origins debacle, and things of that nature. But, and speaking of new releases, as I said, Destiny came out at the time of this, be yesterday. And there's some uproar over Metacritic and what's going on Metacritic. There's people on there, and the game, from what I'm hearing, people are saying the game is good, but it may not have necessarily lived up to the amount of hype that was put behind it, which more often than not, most games are not going to live up to the super stupendous amounts of hype that are put into them. Titanfall being another example. But I think I gotta agree with a couple articles I read, and a couple people have already made opinion pieces on this, is Metacritic needs to change the way they do things, because you have these user reviews where people, like, there's somebody on there, and I can't remember the screen name, but somebody basically put, like, they gave the PS4 version a 0 out of 10 and said that PSN sucks, blah blah blah. And at the end of the review, they put Xbox for life, and they reviewed the Xbox version of the game and gave it a 10 out of 10. Then, you know, I mean, I'm sure there's people that did it vice versa. They gave the Xbox version a 0 and the PS4 version a 10 and things like that. And you know, with all this stuff that's going on in gaming right now, like with the Gamergate and everything of that nature, people just keep, I hate to say it, but people just, there's a lot of very good people in gaming, there's a lot of very mature and reasonable, rational people, but at the same time, these vocal idiots that are sending people death threats and doxing people and all this other stuff, and then you got these people that, and major companies look at Metacritic, whether you want to admit that or not, or you want to accept the fact that they should or shouldn't, or anything like that. Major publishers and developers do look at Metacritic. Some of them give bonuses based on Metacritic scores. Not the user reviews, but the overall average of the critics, the major outlets and things like that. But, you know, when these developers, and a lot of developers are being very outspoken against the gaming community right now, they see these childish, immature user reviews, and these people aren't helping to alleviate the stigma and the stereotype of being a gamer. And it's hard when you have these people that are trying to be rational and reasonable and normal about the situation and the current climate of the community, when you got people just acting like fucking 12-year-olds. You know, and when I was growing up, it wasn't like cool to be a gamer or anything like that, and I'm only 31. I mean, I'm not like some fucking ancient dinosaur or anything like that. But it, over time, it eventually became more and more acceptable, and then now it has really imploded with all the things that have gone on in the last few weeks, and I just think people need to learn how to handle situations a little bit more maturely. You're always going to have back and forth things, especially within the community. You're going to have your console wars and all that, but if you handle discussions maturely and with respect, you're going to get further. Which leads me, this goes back to Twitter too. Yesterday, Randy Pitchford posted a Twitter post. I don't have it up on the screen anywhere to read it verbatim, but the general gist of it was he was talking about jerks, and
So faster would be better.
He said
Got
that,
it?
you know, there's basically, in a nutshell, there's nothing wrong with criticism, but you get farther with sugar than you do with salt, I think he said. But basically along the lines is like somebody said, Borderlands is a fucking snooze fest, and he was like, this is a perfect example. You can criticize something and still be constructive about it. You know, people immediately, once they have a criticism, want to jump to fuck you, you suck, go kill yourself and die, and stuff like that. And you always see these comments, and there's always the assholes on the internet because there's no accountability and there's nothing to... They're not out in the open, they're hidden behind a computer screen, so they don't need to worry about any repercussions. But if you really want to get change and motivate change in something, acting like a fucking dickhole is not the way to do it. And it just seems more and more that's people's first initial knee-jerk reactions when they have a criticism, is to resort to sticking their finger in their ears and being like, fuck you. But, you know, it is what it is. Other than that, you know, I mean, it's the same old shit, guys. Just be civil. Because there's far more... The decent people out there far outweigh the assholes, but I think we need to make sure other people know that. But like always, I'm going to wrap this up since we're running to the end of the video here, and I thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
An exceptionally
Enjoy this
good-looking
cutscene.
but misunderstood vampire who risks life and limb every week to keep the world safe. The men and women of Stag put their lives on the line every day to protect your city against gang violence. Want to be a real-world hero? Talk to your Stag recruiter today. I know I have.
Nightblade's the face of Stag? Why don't you just put someone in a fucking deer suit?
Hearts and minds will win the war, my dear.
Shock and awe wins wars, Senator. Authorize the data list and this will all be over.
Absolutely not.
That kid's gonna get himself killed.
Will you ensure Josh Brooks' safety? Or I'll find someone who can. Understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Alright guys, like I said earlier, thanks for watching. Have a good one.